I'd like to thank everyone for joining today's webinar in your busy schedule. Before we proceed, I would like to check whether you all can hear my voice and view the presentation. So it would be great if you all can confirm that by commenting on chat. I'll wait for your confirmation. Thank you all for the confirmation. Let me introduce myself. My name is Abraham Javaraj, and I have 5 years of IT industry experience. And I'm associated with ManageEngine to implement Desktop Central and other related applications in ManageEngine. So I'll be the presenter for today's webinar. So let's have a quick look at the training schedule. So as you all know, this is 7 weeks training series, and now we are in 4th week of the training schedule. All the trainings will be recorded, and it can be easily accessed in the below mentioned website link. It is desktopcentral.com training.html. In case if you missed the previous training videos, you can access this link and you can access the videos. Even all registered participants will be receiving the training videos through email. So today's topic is remote control and tools in Desktop Central. Before we start the training, let's have a quick look at the agenda of training today. We'll start with the overview of remote control, and we'll see how it works in the background first. Followed by that, we'll be discussing on the uses of remote control and other tools with few real-time examples for better understanding. So first, we'll see how help desk technician can use remote control in installing applications and troubleshooting issues. Second, I have taken most common issues in PC, which is system slowness. Let's see how we can use tools in Desktop Central to troubleshoot on this. And third, in an organization, enforcing IT policies is very much important. So we'll see how Desktop Central can be used here. And finally, we'll see how you can use Desktop Central to alert the end users in an emergency situations, like your Microsoft Exchange server is down, like that. So followed by that, we'll be discussing on other few interesting scenarios and solutions that we came across in our support experience. During this training, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to use the chat option. Our expert panel available here will be able to answer your questions for you. And we'll also discuss some frequently asked questions by the end of this presentation. Okay, let's move on. And Desktop Central is an unified endpoint management solution, which helps in managing servers, laptops, desktops, and smartphones, even tablets and mobile devices from a central location. And traditional endpoint management has some difficulties on modern IT environments, which involves heterogeneous devices and also with devices which travel outside the network of an organization. So this Desktop Central tool offers an umbrella approach as an unified endpoint management solution to manage all the endpoints, including devices like mobile devices and the desktops and laptops within an organization from a centralized location. And Desktop Central's remote control supports all 3 major operating systems, which is Windows, Macintosh, and Linux. So here you can see the split-ups of each versions in which it is supported. And let's have a quick look at the architecture of Desktop Central first. So Desktop Central is an on-premises solution, and this is also a client-server-based application. So Desktop Central agent should be installed on all the machines, the client machines that you wish to manage. And in Desktop Central, you can manage desktops, laptops, Surface devices, and all that. Even agent installation can be done through multiple ways. First, you can automate the agent installation from the console itself, or you can use a manual or script-based deployment. Even if you're managing the machines through Active Directory, you can utilize the group policy option to install the agents to the client machines. Coming back to the architecture, you can also manage machines in LAN and WAN network using distribution server, which is available in Desktop Central. What is this distribution server? For example, if you're managing more than 10 machines in a remote site, which is a remote office. And if you have concerns in bandwidth, then you can go and use this distribution server. So when a patch or a software task is created for the machines which are located in this remote office, the client machines will not directly reach out to the main server to download the patches. Instead, the distribution server will reach out to the server and download the patches, and this client machines in turn will download the patches from the distribution server. So this feature will help you to manage the bandwidth efficiently. And even roaming users who move from one location to another location all the time can be managed by Desktop Central efficiently. To achieve this, you need to enable a NAT on your network. Like you need to expose your server to internet by using a NAT, by using the functionality called NATing, so that the roaming users can talk to the server through public-facing IP address or FQDN. Or you can place a Desktop Central server in DMZ zone, which is demilitarized zone. I presume everybody knows about DMZ. It is where you can place your server in a secure hosting so that the client machines can reach the server in a secure way. So these are all the general things in architecture. And here are the components available in Desktop Central. So we already discussed about server, agent, and the distribution server. And the next is a notification server, which is another important component which plays an important role in any on-demand tasks, such as remote control and inventory scan or patch scan, which is also an on-demand scans. And failover service, failover server, so which brings an additional server which actively monitors the primary server and takes over the operation when the primary server fails. So this feature helps you in eliminating the downtime of your business. Even language packs are available. You can go to this below link to know more about the language packs supported by Desktop Central. And another important component here is the forwarding server. As I informed you earlier, you need to expose your server to internet using NAT functionality, or you should place the Desktop Central server itself in DMZ to manage the roaming users who always move from one location to another. In this scenario, if you have constraints in placing your server in DMZ or exposing your server to internet directly, you can use this component called forwarding server. So what is this forwarding server? So forwarding server acts as a secure gateway between the roaming agents, the remote office agents and the roaming agents, and the Desktop Central server. So any communication from the roaming agents to the Desktop Central server will be routed only through this secure gateway, which is forwarding server. So this way you can enhance the security on your server. Right, so that is all about the architecture. So the next is you can also place the Desktop Central server in Azure or AWS. So there are advantages in placing Desktop Central server in cloud. For example, if you're a managed service provider, then you can manage multiple customers' environment using this easily. And it's a cost-effective solution. And also, you can easily manage the roaming users when you're hosting the server from a cloud platform. Desktop Central will be available on cloud very soon, and we have now released a cloud version for another ManageEngine product, which is Patch Manager Plus. And right, so the next is the ports used by Desktop Central. So here are the ports that are used by Desktop Central. We recommend you to use open these ports on your network, on your server machine, to utilize the features available in Desktop Central. For example, voice and video chat functionality, which is available in Desktop Central, uses the port 8443, which is UDP. And agent-server communication happens in port 8020, and server-to-agent notification happens on port 8027, which is TCP. And even agent-server communication can be made to happen securely using the port 8383. So to know more about these ports, you can visit this below link, desktopcentral.com ports. Okay, so here is another important section in the architecture, which is 90 minutes refresh interval. So as I told you before, Desktop Central architecture is scalable to manage even larger networks up to 20,000 missions. So this is feasible, or this is possible because of this 90 minutes policy that we use in Desktop Center. What is this refresh policy? Every Desktop Central agent will be contacting the server for every 90 minutes. So this is called as agent refresh cycle. So this feature ensures that all computers in the network contact the server periodically. So two important factors are ensured here. Number one, the network is not getting choked by agent-server communication, meaning the bandwidth is not getting disturbed due to the agent-server communication. The second, the performance of the server is not affected by this agent-server communication. So even Desktop Central Server has an intelligence to slice down the number of client missions that should communicate to the server. And for example, in a network of 90 computers, only one mission will reach out to the Desktop Central Server every minute. Likewise, in a network of 900 computers, 10 computers will reach out to the server per minute. And even in the larger networks like 9,000 missions, 100 computers will reach the Desktop Central Server per minute. So using this feature, agent can communicate to the server without any hesitation. So that is all about the general things in Desktop Central. So if you guys have any questions on the topics that we discussed so far, you can raise your questions in the chat and we'll be happy to answer that on the chat. So till now, we have discussed about the general architecture of Desktop Central. So now we'll move on and discuss about the functionalities and the uses of remote control and other related tools in Desktop Center. So to explain these features better, I have taken 4 real-time examples. So first is resolving help desk ticket. So here is the first real-time scenario. So in this, we'll see how a help desk technician can use remote control feature in Desktop Central to help a user and resolve a ticket. Let us assume end user named Bob sends a ticket to IT help desk through service desk portal. So the ticket was assigned to an help desk technician called John. So a technician called John. So John opens the ticket on his portal and he checks the ticket, and the ticket has 2 requests in it. And it has the request 1 is for installing Adobe Acrobat application, and second, Wi-Fi connection not working. So John is planning to use remote control feature to assist Bob on this request. So let us see how John is going to use this. For better understanding, let us assume myself as John, the technician, and I'm going to log into the console as the technician Jonathan, and let me show you how we can assist Bob on this. Okay, so first, as I told you on the architecture, you need to install agents on all the missions that you wish to manage. So assume that Bob's computer already has the Desktop Central agent installed. So I'll go to the tools section directly and I will click on remote control. So in this remote control section, I will see all the missions which are managed by me on this. So I know that the user who raised this request is Bob. So I can use the search option on this list and I can type the username as Bob and hit enter. So it will show me the computer that Bob is using. So this is the computer that Bob is using currently. So I'm going to connect to this mission and troubleshoot on this and assist him on the request he raised. But before we click on connect, there are a few things that I need to highlight. First thing is prompt user for confirmation. In case if Bob is involved in any other important task, I should be asking permission to the end user before I connect to his computer. So I can enable this option and I can click on connect. And so this will give a pop-up message on the end user's computer with the message. So the end users can accept or reject the request. Or else I can ignore this. Even the second option here is a viewer type. You have an option to choose a viewer type, which is HTML or ActiveX. So HTML is more browser friendly and faster compared to ActiveX. So I'm going to use HTML5 viewer for now. Okay, so now I'm going to connect to Bob's computer. So for that, I will quickly click on this icon, which is showing me the available users on it. So currently there is 2 users logged into that mission. I need to connect to Bob's session now, so I'll click on Bob. So here is another important option. For an audit purpose, we have this option enabled on the settings. So whenever we click on connect to a user computer, it will ask me to enter the specific reason. So I already have the reason ready. So I will just type the reason here like this for an audit purpose. And the next is the ticket number. So since this ticket was already raised on a service desk portal, I already know the ticket number, which is 381. So I will refer this ticket number here and I'll click on connect. So within few minutes, the remote session will be initiated and I can see the end user's computer now. So this is how I can see this. Okay, so now coming back to the scenario, so Bob has raised 2 requests. One is installing
ப்ரோ யாரோ உங்க எக்ஸ்டெண்ட் யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டாங்க ஸோ கட் ஆகிடுச்சு முடியும் நான் போய் அவங்கள போய் பார்க்குறேன் எனக்கு சரியா ஆமாம் உங்கள் எக்ஸ்டெண்ட் யாரும் யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டாங்க அவங்க அங்கே நம்ம டெஸ்ட் இருந்து
Hello.
Okay.
Sorry that we got disconnected.
Okay, bro. பார்க்குறேன்.
Hope you can hear my voice now. Could you please confirm if you all can hear my voice? Okay, I'm sorry about this inconvenience. So let's proceed. So coming back to the scenario, so we were discussing about the first request that Bob has raised, okay, which is for installing Adobe Acrobat application. So before we move on, let me quickly show you the options available in remote control screen here. So here on the right hand side, I have this option where the end user can see who is controlling the computer, which is Jonathan. And even if I need to switch back between the screens, I can click on this area and I can switch back between the screens. So if I have multiple monitors on the computer, I can switch back between the screens and I can move easily. So even I have an option to change the layout. So if I want to change the layout, I can use it, horizontal layout or vertical layout and all that. So these are all the options available. So even I can see both the screens at the same time by using this option. So these are all the options available for me. So the next, okay, I will also like to show you the other options in case if I want to change the size of the actual screen, which is actual size or full screen mode, I can change it here. And even I have other options where I can easily lock the computer using Control Alt Delete, Alt Tab, blacken monitor, and all the other options are there. And even I can easily take a screenshot of it from this remote control. And even on this, I have these options where I can easily access the command prompt, computer management screen, and control panel, and device manager, and everything. Even power options can be easily accessed from here. You don't have to use a start menu anymore to do anything, so which will be harder. So likewise, you have other options to do a text chat, voice call, and video call, and you can also use hotkeys to enter some keys here. So if you want to do some shortcuts, you can use these hotkeys and you can easily use this option. Okay, so I will change the layout and I will go back to the main screen now. So now I'm going to go for the first request from the Bob, which is for installing Adobe Acrobat request. Okay, so now as an help desk technician, I know this particular setup file needed for this installation of Adobe is available in a network share, which is confidential. So I don't want to share the confidential information to the end user Bob, who's the end user. So the option available for me now is blackening the monitor. So I can use this blackened monitor so the end user will not be able to see what I'm accessing. Even if I'm accessing a network share, a confidential network share, if I'm entering a password, the end user will not be able to see what I'm entering the screen. So I'm going to use this option. But since the user is already using the laptop, the computer, I just want to inform or seek permission from the end user before I use this option. So I'll go for the option here to use the text chat. So here I'm going to request a permission from the Bob to blacken the monitor. So I'm just typing the message like, hi Bob, this is Jonathan and I want to blacken the monitor for a few minutes. So assume that Bob is replying as yes now. So I'm going to proceed with the next step of installation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the network share on the machine and I'm going to copy the installation files. So the easy way to do is using this quick launch. So if I go to this quick launch option, I have this option called Explorer. So I can easily use this Explorer. I can launch this Explorer window, can easily access the network share like this. So from this, I can easily copy the file to the Bob's computer and I can start installation. Okay, but I also need a license file to activate this installation, to activate this application. So how do I get that file? So I know that this license file is available in my email. So I have downloaded it on my machine, from where I'm viewing this computer right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the next available option, which is file transfer here. And I'm going to go to the desktop of myself. I'll select the file and I'm going to transfer the file to the desktop of the Bob. So here I can transfer the file like this. So when I transfer the file will be copied over to the target machine. So it should be like this. So then I can apply the file and I can delete the files manually. So now the end user will not be, till now the end user cannot see what I have done. So I need to revoke the access to the computer, so to the end user. So I can just enable this option, revoke. So for example, if I have enabled this option, I can re-enable the option like revoke monitor, so the end user can view the desktop once again now. Okay, so this is how I am resolving the first request which is raised by Bob. So first request is for installing Adobe Acrobat application, which is resolved now. So the second request is for Wi-Fi connectivity issue. So with my limited knowledge, okay, so I'm going to just troubleshoot on the Wi-Fi connectivity issue, but I'm unable to find the root cause and I'm unable to fix that efficiently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to seek help from one of my senior technician. So his name is Peter. So I'm going to request him to join the existing remote session and I'm going to share the same screen with the Peter and I'm going to let Peter to assist me on this along with me. So how I'm going to achieve that? So for better understanding, I will move on to another browser, Firefox, and I'm logging in as Peter now. So this is how I'm logging in as Peter. So now I've logged in as Peter, as you see here, and I'm going into the remote session, tools section once again, click on remote control. So now, since there is an existing session, I'm going to see the option called view desktop instead of connect. So Peter, the technician, can simply click on view desktop and it'll tell that the existing user, the Jonathan, is already using it. So I'll click on yes. So Peter also views his computer. So Peter also can switch back and forth between the monitors and all that. Okay, so now assume that the Peter is going to resolve this issue. So Peter is going to troubleshoot on this. But Peter cannot easily access the computer now. So the point here is only one user can access the computer in an active mode. So currently Jonathan is active on the session. So Peter will not be able to access the computer. He can only view the computer, which is called view only mode. So if Peter needs to work on the computer, Peter can request for the active mode by using this option here like this. So now Peter will have a full control on the screen. He can do troubleshootings using the shortcuts available. As I told you, he can use a command prompt. You can use a device manager to reset the network adapter settings and all that. So these are all the options available. So he assumed that Peter resolves the issue now, and so he easily connects to the machine and he resolves the issue, and now he informed me that the Bob's computer has to be rebooted to get the fixes applied properly. So now Peter is logging out from his session. So Peter is logging out now. So Jonathan is still available on the session. So Peter has informed me that we need to reboot Bob's computer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to seek permission from Bob to reboot the computer. So I'm going to ask permission through the chat once again. So here is the message that I have. Sorry, this is the end users window. So I need to type it on my chat window, which is available here. Like this. Here we go. I'll type this. And Bob again going to give me the permission. So I will go ahead and reboot the mission. But for rebooting, I don't have to use a normal startup in the start menu to do the reboot. So I can use this option, power options available here in this quick launch. So I can click on reboot. So when I reboot, the advantage here is after the reboot, the session, the remote session connects back automatically. So these are all the advantages of using it. So in case if I want to run any other tools using any other privilege, then I can just change this option by using this option. And by default, the operations will be used. The options will be used based on the system user privilege. If you want to change it, you can change it. Even if you want to use it as a domain admin, you can run it as a domain admin. So this is how the Bob's requests were resolved by the technician, John. So now we have come to the end of scenario number 1. Okay, so remember that we entered the ticket number, which is 381 during the remote session, when we initiate a remote session. So since I have integrated this desktop central application with Service Desk Plus, I have an additional option where I can add the work log and the resolution and the notes, and I can change this ticket status from the desktop central console itself. So for example, I have a resolution note, a work log. So I'm going to add the details over here like this, and I'm going to change the status. Okay, assume that I want to keep this as open. So I'll click on save. So I'll click on save now. So the details will be posted back to the ticket automatically. So since the desktop central is integrated with Service Desk Plus. So you can easily jump into the Service Desk Plus console by using this option, jump to Service Desk Plus. So I can log into this console. And so here is the ticket number I have used. So if I check the ticket, I can see the status of the ticket. I can see the resolutions added. I can see the tasks performed. So who has used it? So the time, the technician's name, and all that. So this is an advantage of using this integration option. So Service Desk is our ManageEngine's ticketing system. So we have a separate webinar session available to discuss more in detail about this integration features. So we will discuss on that in detail. Okay, so now we have come to the end of the first real-time example. So far we have seen how practically remote control works. So now we will see how it worked in the background first. So how technically it works. So technician 1 logs into his desktop central, log into the desktop central server console on his user account. And so he searches for the Bob's computer and he clicks on connect. So this request will be forwarded to the desktop central server. So desktop central server has two components, notification server and the gateway component. So this notification server component forwards the request sent by the technician 1 to the target mission. So the notification server will also be the component, the notification server component will also be running on the client mission. So this notification server component receives the request from the server and initiate the remote control service running on that mission on the agent. And this remote control service will capture the screenshots, capture the images of the computer, and it will sense the request, sends the images to the desktop central server. The gateway component available here will share the screens to the technician 1. So likewise, if technician 2 tries to connect to the session, the gateway component detects the session is already available, so it will directly share the same screen to the technician 2. So this is how the remote control works in the background. Okay, so let's have a quick recap on what we have seen so far. So we have seen how you can use the options called user permission and to seek permission from the user, and how to change the viewer type, the remote control, and also we have seen how to view multi-monitor and how to blacken the monitor and all that. So if you guys have any questions on the scenario, please do get back to us through chat. Okay, so let us move on to the second example. In this scenario, we'll see how we can troubleshoot, how an help desk technician can troubleshoot on the system slowness issue. So let us assume one of my senior manager called Mark is submitting a ticket which is regarding a system slowness. So now this time John is planning to use other tools in Desktop Central to troubleshoot on the system slowness. So let me show you what are all the other options available to troubleshoot on the system slowness issue. So let me go back to the console. So I have already logged in as Jonathan now. So now I will go to the tools section. So the next option available for me is a system manager. Okay, so system slowness is a common issue. So I don't want to disturb the end user Mark, who's my manager. So if I take remote control, I am obviously going to disturb the end user to check the processes and all that. So I don't want to disturb the end user right now. So the next available option for me is the system manager. So this system manager will not disturb the end user, and I can easily access the computer, the processors, everything in the background. Let me show you how. So first I will search for the Mark's computer, so my manager's computer. So here is the computer which Mark is using. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to see the processes running first. So the first aspect is I need to check what are all the processes running. If there is any unwanted processes running, the CPU usage and all that. So I can easily access this from this processes tab. So which will quickly run a real-time scan on the target machine, and it will fetch me the processes here. So here we go. So this is how I can see the processes running on it. So if I have multiple users, I can see the multiple users logged into that. I can see the processes related to that. And if I want to kill any process, I can easily kill the process from here directly. So that's an advantage. And not only that, after I check the processes, if I do not see any processes running, I can just disable some unwanted services as well. So to slow down, which might slow down the machine's performance. So I can easily access the services tab and I can change the properties. I can use this action and I can change the action that I want to do. So all the details will be available here. Even I can export this as an export. So I can use this. And the next is the command prompt. So in case if I wanted to run any quick disk check command or anything, I can use it over here. So if I want to run it as a system user or a different admin user or a user actually who has logged in, I can change this and I can run it. And even if I want to do some registry changes, I can easily do it from here. I can explore through the registry and I can easily make the changes from here. And even file manager. So this is very helpful in case if I wanted to delete some file, or if I want to copy some file, if I want to download a file from my end user's computer, I can easily do it from here. And even if I want to monitor some event logs from here directly to see if there is any error messages available, which might be related to the system slowness and all that, then I can easily use it from here. So these are all the options. And even device manager. So in case if I wanted to remotely do some disabling on some device drivers, I can easily access it. I can do it from here. And network shares, of course, you can see all the network shares available on this missions, and printers mapped to this mission, and the groups. So you can see who all are having admin privilege. If I want to add a user to it, I can do it. I can create different groups and I can do a lot of changes in this. And even if I want to quickly uninstall an application, I can select the application. I can click on uninstall, the application will be uninstalled. And I can see the users available on that mission. Okay, and one of the important option here is the command prompt and the file manager. So this has access to the sensitive data on the computer. So even I can access the CEO's computer on an organization by using this option. I can access to it file, I can access to the file system, and I can do any changes to it. If I want to restrict this particular access to the command prompt or the file manager for the help desk technicians, I can use the option here called security settings. If I go to admin, I have this option called system manager settings. So here I have this option to restrict this file manager and command prompt option to all the user or for only admins, permanently for all the users. So you can use this option based on your requirement. Okay, so now John has tried the basic troubleshooting steps like checking the processes, clearing up some unwanted files and all that. So the next step that John is going to do is that he wants to clear some the caches and also unwanted files and all that from the mission. So how we can do that? So the next available option for me is system tools. So using this option, I can easily create a job. This could be a scheduled job. So I can make this job run to clean up a task. Clean up the missions completely. So for example, I'm giving a name for this task and I'm selecting this option that I want to perform. So I'll click on check disk first and I'll configure what are the disks that I want to perform this check disk. I can select the options, what mode that I need to run and all that. The next is disk cleanup. So this is very important. So I will select what are all the files that I need to clear on the missions. So I will select that. I'll click on next. So I'll move on to the next section, which is disk defragmenter. So here I'm going to select the target, the disk drives in which you want to run this disk defragmenter command and all that. And I can select the modes. I can set the priority. I can select the defragment mode and all that. If you want to know what this is all about, you can use this icon and you can explore the definitions of each of it. Okay, right. So the next section is to define the targets. So as you see here, I can easily define the targets through the remote control, as a remote office or the entire domain. Or if I wanted to just drill down to a specific computer or something, I can do it from here. So that's also feasible. And the next section is about the scheduler, so which is very important. So if I want to run this task on a regular basis, then I can just schedule it. So I have three options in the scheduler. One is general setting, where if I want to use any specific user account to run this task, I can use it. Or if I want to set some conditions, like so only run if the user is logged in or not, and run whether the user is logged in or not, and do not store the password and all this, hide task. So these are all the things that you can set. And the trigger option. So this is where you can schedule when this task should run on the missions. So you have even advanced settings where you can set some conditions on it. The next is the actual conditions where you can set the idle conditions. So if the user is not using the computer, if it is idle for idle for certain hours, you can just run it. And even power management. If the laptop is running on the power mode, battery mode, don't do it. So wake up the computer to run this task. So like wake online option is available here. We'll discuss about that, and you can use this option. So now I have scheduled a task to run this cleanup task. So this task will run on the target missions by tomorrow. So I'm going to inform my manager Mark, who has raised this request, to report me the status back by tomorrow evening or after this task at a certain time. So since he is a manager, I don't want to use a text chat. So instead I can go for the option like video chat. So in the chat section, I have this option. So I can search for Mark's computer. Okay, here it is. This is Mark's computer. I can click on this. I can initiate a video call like this, and I can talk to Mark over remote control. The video chat, and I can inform Mark to report me back to report me the status on it. So this is the second scenario. So coming back to the presentation, so we have seen how task management services can be accessed, and even event viewer can be accessed remotely, and how to run some commands through the remote command prompt, how to run check disk cleanup, and how to use video chat. So this is all about the second scenario. So I hope this was useful. If you have any questions on this, please do raise the questions in the chat. We will assist you on this. Okay, so here is a third real-time example that I have taken. So to reduce the wastage of power in my organization, my department has planned to shut down the computers after business hours and wake up the machines before the production hours. So let's see how I can use the options available in Desktop Central to automate this process. So coming back to the console of Desktop Central. So in this scenario, I need to schedule a task to shut down the machine of business hours. So I can use this remote shutdown option. So I can select the computers, I can instantly shut down the machine or reboot the machine, hibernate, standby, lock computers and all that. Even if I don't want to use this, I can just schedule a task. So as for the scenario, I want this to be configured as a scheduled task. So I'll create a task, I'll give a name for this, I'll select the operation, I shut down, and I'll set the I will set the conditions, so when it has to be shut down, and I can just show a pop-up message on the computer before it shuts down. And if I want to exclude, or if I want to select a specific computer, then I can select the computers from it, and I can schedule a task on this. So based on the schedule, every day the computers on my remote office or on the target computers will be shut down automatically. The next is I need to wake up the machines as well. So for that, I can use this wake online option. So it's very simple. If the machines are turned off, you can see the status as red here. So you can just select the machines, you can wake up the machines instantly. But if you want to automate this, you can schedule the task like you did before for the shutdown task, and I can easily set the conditions and the options here. Set the target machine, I can set the scheduler, and I can make this wake up task to run automatically. And there are a few things that you need to consider before you configure this wake online option. First thing is IP broadcast should be enabled on your router, on your network. And this is a network prerequisite. And also, one computer with Desktop Central agent should be live on the specific subnets, on each subnets, in fact. And also, you need to have the wake online enabled on the BIOS level. And of course, the next important option is that you need to enable the wake online on the network adapter settings as well. But we have this option here, so you can enable this option. You can enable the wake online settings on the network adapter through the Desktop Central agent by using this option. So on the next refresh, the Desktop Central agent will automatically enable the settings. But the BIOS settings has to be done manually. Okay, so by this way, I can easily automate the shutdown and waking up the machine, and this will easily be reducing the power consumption in my organization. And in case if I want to export some kind of report to see the activities in the power, schedule shutdown, the power management activities, I can go for this option, the power management reports. In the report section, you have this power management reports. You can go for this. You can see this report, and you can see the total uptime, downtime. You can use the filters available here, predefined filters. You can export it as a report. You can submit it to your higher management, or you can use this for your audit purpose. So this is all about the third scenario. So we have seen the options to shut down and wake up the machines, how to schedule it, and the grouping. So there is an option called grouping. So in case if you don't want to schedule a task based on a specific computer, then you can use this option called grouping. So custom group is called the grouping option here. So we have three different types of custom groups available. So static, unique, and dynamic. So in Active Directory structure, you might already have some groups created. So this is independent to the Active Directory structure. So here in Desktop Central separately, you can give a name for the group, and you can select the OU or the domain, and you can select the computers in which that you wish to add to this group, and you can create the group for this. So you can use this group anywhere on this system, on this Desktop Central, to do any task. Even if you want to schedule a task to do a reboot, wake online, you can use this option. So that is all about grouping. So even dynamic grouping option is available. So where you can set the conditions based on which you can easily group the machine instead of you manually selecting the computers and moving it. And even static unique is another special type of custom group where if you're creating one static group, unique group with computer 1 to 10 with name computer 1 to 10, you cannot have the same computers in another static unique group. So which is, which is called static unique, which means the list of computers in that groups should be unique. So that's the main aim of static unique group. So that is all about it. And we have seen how we can utilize the power management reports. So that is all about the third scenario. Okay, so now we have come to the last scenario, the end, the real-time example, which is, alerting the end user. Okay, so let's consider my MS Microsoft Exchange server is down in my environment. In this case, the end user who are using this Outlook will start contacting the help desk, and the help desk technicians will be bombarded by the tickets. So to avoid this, so the spike in the tickets, you can take some necessary proactive actions to intimate the users that you're already working on this by sending them an alert, based on sending them a message that you're already working on it. To use this, you can use the option called announcement in Desktop Central. In the tools section, you have this option called announcement. So you can use this option and you can broadcast any important messages to the end user. For example, you can type the message like this, you can give a title, and so here you can set the announcement time. So what the start time, end time, and the frequency of it. If you want to show this message multiple times on the end user's computer, you can do it. And one of the important thing is this is user based, not computer based. So if you're targeting that to a remote office, you're actually targeting that to all the users in that remote office. You can target it to all the users in domain or to a specific user based custom group or a specific user as well. So this is how I can publish a message to the end users. So once I publish, the end users will see the message that I published through a pop-up message as you see on the screen. So this is the another easiest method of alerting the end user about any important messages. Okay, so now we have come to the end of this real-time examples. So hope this was informative. If you guys have any questions on the options that we discussed so far, please do type your questions in chat. Okay, so let's move on to the next section, which is the scenarios and solutions. So let's discuss about some pretty interesting scenarios and solutions that we came across in our support experience. So first scenario is, how do I measure the time spent by technicians who are handling tickets related to desktops? Okay, it's very simple. As I told you before, we have two options available for you. One is in the tools section. You have remote control. In the history tab, you have this history tracked down. You can easily see who has used the remote session and the technician name who has used it, and the start time, end time, the total duration, and you can use this for an audit purpose by exporting as a report. You can add a column or remove a column on this report as well. And additionally, since this is integrated with Service Desk Plus, the technician obviously going to initiate a remote session from the Service Desk Plus itself. So you can easily access this ticket on the Service Desk Plus, and you can easily see the tasks status. So if the end user, if the technician is using a remote control to troubleshoot on it, so he will be entering the work log, so you can easily see the time spent by the technician on this. So this is just an example that I want to show you. Okay, so by this you can meet this requirement. So the next scenario, we would like to monitor the activities of the students in our school without their knowledge. Is this possible? Yes, of course, this is possible. You can easily monitor the activities of a computer in a stealth mode by using this option. For that, you first need to disable this end user permission, because if you have this enabled, the end user will be prompted for a permission that defeats the need of it. So you need to disable this. And of course, there is other options like notify end users. So if you disable this, the end user will not be able to see any icon, about who's controlling his computer and all that. So view only mode is option available. So in case by mistake, if you're clicking on the screen, you will not be accessing the control. You will not be disturbing the end user if you have enabled this option. So this is how you can meet this requirement. And the scenario number 3, we are a healthcare company that needs to be compliant with certain regulations such as HIPAA. Yes, of course, we do provide an option. So we have already seen this option, which is user confirmation. As for the HIPAA compliance, which is used in most of the healthcare organizations. So to be compliant with that, you need to seek permission from the end user before you access their personal information. So for example, the remote control will be accessing the personal laptops and all that. So you need to seek permission from the computer before you take control. So that is where this option in place. So you can use this option. So scenario number 4, installing and configuring IIS on a remote machine is complex. I want to document the process and use it as a training material for the newcomers. Is it possible? Yes, of course. This is absolutely possible. It's very simple again. You can simply enable a screen recording option here. And now you can, as an administrator, you can log into any one of the machine and you can configure IIS. And that particular session will be recorded automatically. And you can download the video by using this hyperlink here, and you can use it as a training material for the newcomers. So this is also feasible. Okay, scenario number 5. I found my remote sessions are slow when I'm in different country roaming users. How do I fix this? Of course, this is one common scenario that you might face when the roaming users are going to be moving to a different location, when they are in a home or in a different network, in a public network. You cannot expect a high-speed internet to that. So for that, you can set the performance level here. So you can just set, for example, if I have a roaming users separately here, so I can set the compression level as best and color quality as low. So this will minimize, or this eliminates this kind of issue. So slowness issues can be overcome by this kind of settings. You can modify that. And scenario, okay, so that is all about the scenarios. So hope this again is informative. If you have any other scenarios that you want to discuss, you can discuss with us on the chat. And the next section is going to be on the questions, so where we're going to discuss about the frequently asked questions. So question number 1, I'm running Desktop Central app on my mobile device. Can I initiate remote control via app? Yes, of course, this is absolutely feasible. So you have this option called mobile app installation. So it's simple. You can go to the admin tab. You can click on this mobile app feature. You can configure the mobile app on, you can install this app on a iOS devices and Android devices, and you can configure the server and you can access it. And once it is installed, you can go to this remote control option. You can browse through the computer, you can click on remote connect, enter the reason, and you can go and control the missions. So this, you can use this kind of gestures to control the computer. So this is how you can utilize this. And question number 2, does screen recording need to be turned on before you establish the remote session, or can it be turned on during the session? The screen recording has to be turned on before the remote control. So it cannot be turned on during the remote session. So it has to be turned on before the remote connection. So it's a global setting. Okay, so question number 3, to allow multiple technicians to work on the same remote, is that require additional license from ManageEngine? No, there is no additional license required for multiple technicians to share the same screen. However, in order to create multiple user accounts in this console, you need to have multiple, you need to have additional technician licenses. If you have any questions on this, you can contact us, our support, or you can type the questions in chat. We will explain you what this means. So in the console, you have options to create multiple user accounts. So I have created so many users like, Jonathan, Peter, and all that. So to create these kind of users, I need to have multiple, technician licenses. There is no specific license needed for this sharing the screen alone. Okay, right. So question number 4, will the remote control automatically reconnect the session? Of course, yes, it is going to be reboot and reconnect, so it will reconnect automatically. And question number 5, my remote control screen shows port 8443. How do I resolve this? Of course, this is one common issue. As we discussed on the previous slides, we have discussed about the ports used by remote control, video chat, and all that. So in case if that port is not available in my environment, consider that the port is already occupied by a different application. So this kind of error message will be shown on your screen. So to overcome this, you can use this option called port settings, and you can change the port. So the default ports are 8443, 8444. If you want to customize and change it to a different port, you can change it to a different port so that you will not have this kind of error messages anymore. Okay, question number 6. Is it possible to take remote control of a roaming user? Of course, yes, this is possible. So all you need to check is whether the machines are communicating to the server or not. So if you're using a NAT functionality, and if you have a public FQDN or a public IP address, the agents on the roaming in a different network can reach out to the server through a public FQDN or IP address, and so by which you can see the status as up and green. Then you can easily connect to the machine. You can remotely connect to that machine from here. So that is the thing. Okay, question number 6, and next, if you have a keyboard mouse disabled, does it automatically disable for the new text sharing the screen? Yes, of course. As I told you, by default, if you're sharing a screen with another technician, the second technician will only have the view only mode, so he cannot directly access the computer. So even if you disable the keyboard and mouse, then he can directly he cannot easily access the console. He cannot easily access the screen. So he needs to request for the control, the view only, the active mode to control his computer. So that is an option available. Okay, so that is all about the questions, and so hope this training session was informative. And so please do share your feedback on this training session. So you can rate us on a scale of 1 to 5, whereas 5 is the best. And if you guys like the training, you can spread the word on the social media using this hashtags. And we also offer some free personalized demo in case if you're interested in Desktop Central. You can request as a demo using this link, desktopcentral.com request-demo.html, or you can let us know through the chat. Our technician will help you with the further procedures on it. So stay tuned for the next training schedule, which is on 14th of November on configurations and hidden tricks. And I thank you all once again for your patience and your presence today, and have a very nice day. Thank you.